External debt is one of the most controversial debts out there. It has been one of the reasons why some countries in history have been plunged into crisis. But it is a necessary tool for many developing nations. They need to borrow money to fund their infrastructure developments, or even stabilize their economy. But when they borrow too much money, their debt repayments and interest can accumulate faster than their economic growth. As a result, this becomes a vicious cycle where they may need to continue borrowing money to service their debt, which as a result may find themselves in a deep trap. There is one unfortunate country that has accumulated massive debts in recent years, and that is Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a crowning champion of South Asia. It is one of the world's fastest growing economies and is projected to become the next trillion-dollar economy. But as Bangladesh grows, it has brought in tremendous external debt problems. The country now has a lot of external debt. As of the end of 2023, Bangladesh has over $100 billion worth of external debt, and a lot of these come directly from the public sector. Over $79.6 billion came from the public sector, whereas $20.9 billion came from the private sector. What this essentially means is that the majority of Bangladesh's external debt is held by the government or state-run institutions, which raises concerns about the country's fiscal health and its ability to service these debts in the long run. The high level of public sector debt suggests that the government is borrowing heavily to finance infrastructure projects, social programs, and other public expenditures. But too much, as we stated earlier, can push Bangladesh into a debt trap. So, how bad can this affect Bangladesh's economy? Well, before we understand that, let us first understand how Bangladesh accumulated such a big amount of debt and who they did the borrowing from. A part of Bangladesh's rise in its economy was funneled through foreign relations and foreign debt. The former government of Sheikh Hasina was continuously seen flying across the world, especially in China and Russia. Hasina's government had struck many deals with these countries. The deals led to stronger ties with the two, but also led to many foreign investments and loans. According to Bangladesh Bank, the country's central bank, China has been the third largest. China is the largest lender to Bangladesh's private sector. Their total crediting stock was over $3 billion. This is followed by the United Kingdom, which has lent over $1 billion, then Hong Kong at $896 million, and the Netherlands at $839 million. Now, let's take a look at the public sector and see some of the largest deals and loans that China gave to Bangladesh. One of these is the Pyra Power Plant, a 1,320 megawatt coal-fired thermal power station located in the Putukahali district of Bangladesh. The project is being developed by the Bangladesh China Power Company, BCPCL, a 50-50 joint venture between China National Machinery Import and Export and Bangladesh's state-owned Northwest Power Generation Company. The project is expensive. It has an estimated cost of over $2 billion. This is financed by a 30% equity investment from the BCPCL partners, with the remaining 70% funded by loans from Chinese banks, led by the Chinese Export-Import Bank. This is another problem with the project sourced from China. Not only does it involve loans, but the project is also favored towards Chinese companies. The $1.56 billion engineering procurement and construction contract was awarded not to a local Bangladesh company, but rather a Chinese consortium consisting of China Energy Engineering Group Northeast No. 1 Electric Power Construction and China National Energy Engineering and Construction. Several other Chinese companies such as Dongfang Boiler Group and Shanghai Electric Group were subcontracted. According to a report published by Protham Olo, since the 2019 to 2020 fiscal year, China has provided Bangladesh with nearly $3 billion in loans, accounting for approximately 40% of the total loans China has extended to Dhaka since its establishment of the diplomatic relations. At present, around 14 projects are being carried out with Chinese loans totaling nearly $10 billion. Separately from projects, China has also provided direct loans to Bangladesh. In July of 2024, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina announced after one of her bilateral meetings with Chinese President Xi Jinping that she received $2 billion in 4 packages related to grants, interest-free loans, concessional loans, and commercial loans. Now, beyond China, there is also Russia. Russia has also been a part of the increasing debt for Bangladesh. The Raipur nuclear power plant is one of the most ambitious projects set out in Bangladesh's history. It is Bangladesh's first venture into nuclear energy, utilizing nuclear fission to generate electricity. The concept for the Raipur was first proposed way back in 1961, but it was only in 2009 that a Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) was signed between Bangladesh Atomic Energy Commission (BAEC) and Russia's ROSATOM. Subsequent agreements between Bangladesh and Russia in 2010 and 2011 laid the groundwork for nuclear cooperation. By 2013, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina laid the foundation stone for the Raipur nuclear power plant. But this project was saddled in debt. It is a project valued at $12.65 billion and is primarily funded through nuclear financing from the Russian government. However, Bangladesh had difficulties paying down the debt, partly because of their dwindling foreign reserves and also as US sanctions have disrupted traditional finance channels to Russia. As a result, Bangladesh now owes a significant amount in unpaid interest and penalties. In a recent report, Russia has even told Bangladesh to pay over $630 million in overdue interest on the loans. So, knowing all this, what are the probable impacts to Bangladesh? Well, the first is the fact that Bangladesh has to repay these debts. How do they repay them? Well, the first thing that you need to know is that these are borrowed in foreign currencies, and most of the time it is borrowed in US dollars. Bangladesh doesn't have an unlimited amount of US dollars or foreign currencies as they can't print them. The only way for them to get US dollars or other foreign currencies is to either sell products or services abroad, which is the concept of export, receive remittances from its diaspora or through foreign investments. But the thing is, Bangladesh's foreign reserves are dwindling down. The country is importing more than ever. Their exports simply can't keep up. Investments aren't enough, and remittances, whilst a huge figure, is still overshadowed by imports. Imports that are harming Bangladesh are even coming from China. In 2021, Bangladesh exported only $1 billion to China, while bilateral trade was over $25 billion. This is a massive trade gap, and it showcases how foreign currencies are flowing out of Bangladesh and into China. Some analysts, however, argue that this is okay, as the imports support Bangladesh's exports and development. There were also efforts to change this, yet an article published in 2024 said that the trade deficit is still a big $22 billion. So, how does this affect Bangladesh? Well, as Bangladesh's foreign reserves decrease, it becomes harder for the country to repay its debts, especially those in US dollars. With less money available, Bangladesh may struggle to keep up with its payments, leading to unpaid interest and penalties. This could harm its credit reputation and make it difficult to get future loans or investments. If Bangladesh doesn't manage its debt well, it could be forced to cut spending on important services like healthcare and education, which would slow down economic growth and might lead to social unrest. Too much borrowing could also make Bangladesh more dependent on foreign lenders, weakening its control over its own economy. In short, while borrowing has helped Bangladesh grow, the rising debt could cause serious problems. To avoid these issues, the country needs to better manage its resources, balance trade, and use loans wisely to support long-term growth. Without these steps, the debt could harm Bangladesh's economy and its people in the long run. Now, of course, it may seem like Bangladesh is headed into a crisis, but not yet. Bangladesh's government has been doing everything it can to renegotiate its loans from other countries such as China. They have also been seeking emergency loans to increase their foreign reserves. On top of that, they have also said that these external debts are mostly long-term loans and not short-term. That means they can pay it down over the next 10 to even 20 years, and not within the next year. But anyway, do let us know what you think down in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.